Welcome back. You're still watching Money Means Business, and that was a report about the prices of gold that were rocketing up in the past week, more specifically in Egypt, as we did see recording, according to the latest updates that took place all over the world, not just in the Middle East and Africa. And to be focusing on the main topics for the Money Means Business episode for tonight, I'm honored to be having with me in the studio Dr. Abbas Zoghary, the economic expert. Thank you very much for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
First of all, the participation of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi in the Arab-Chinese summit in Saudi Arabia. How do you see the importance of such a step?
Well, it's something very unique, which I have to say, because this is the first time for the Arab-Chinese summit with all the Arabian countries. President Sisi has been to China twice, and since 2010. But this was very especially because the Saudi play a big role in it.
Yes.
The policy of the Saudi has been changed, and this summit will be beneficially actually for Egypt a lot. We're talking about two things which we cannot ignore. They talk about it since 2016.
Yes.
That is the economic build, and the Silk Road.
Yes.
They are trying to communicate with all the Arab world around, all Arab country, and China, of course. China is the biggest economic country in the world at the moment, the second after the United States. It's a huge money which they are playing with. Egypt will result a lot of benefits from this summit because of the commercial which will be between China and Egypt first, and the second, the one between the Arab world and Egypt and Africa. We import from China at the moment about $11 million yearly, or 11.5, and we export to them 1.5 million, which is the balance is not fair. Let's say. President Sisi has announced this in this summit that the export of the Egyptian products must be more, and we must reach at least 30% more than we export this time. Actually, all the countries and all the eyes were open about the speech which he has announced.
Yes.
And there is a lot of agreement has been signed. And I hope that this will be work in short time and not taking a longer time as it has been. Because if I compare the time between 2016, when they were talking about the build, the economic build and the Silk Road, and until now,
yes,
well, that has been 6 years. They were slow, or it was not well communicated, or was another problem which they were busy with. But I'm happy with the agreement they have done in the summit, because for Egypt it means a lot.
Doctor, why do you think there were slow negotiations in those two initiatives, more specifically the ones that you mentioned, specifically that you said we know the idea, they are not new ideas, they have been done before between both countries, between both regions, China and the rest of the world. Why do you think there is slow negotiations or slower process to be turning it into the implementation phase?
Well, you have to think wisely about two things, yes, politically and economically. And I said politically first, because there is some other country, they have a lot of effect that this cannot be done, or this can be delayed, because of their own benefits from the export or the import of everything. Actually, Saudi Arabia was slowly between China and the Arab world or Egypt, because the politics in Saudi Arabia was old-fashioned. When the Prince of Mohammed bin Salman has became in the kingdom.
Yes.
He is modern, and he is quick, and he is actually very active prince. He would he changed already Saudi Arabia, and also he tried to go after all the agreement, all the business, which can be first for Saudi Arabia and for the rest. So I think this is the reason. I have no other obligation or other reason that can delay the program or the summit which they have been done or the agreement than this, because one country is between, and if this country is not ready, then they cannot go further. But now they are ready for it, and they are planning to work quickly on it. So I think it will be okay.
We've seen in the past decade the attention turning from China and the Asian powers into Africa and the Arab world, Egypt and Saudi Arabia. Do you think that this could be in the benefit of China in terms of becoming the #1 economy in the world in the future?
Of course. Nobody done or do anything for nothing. China is everywhere. Like I have told you in the beginning, we are importing goods from China for $11 million a year, and China is everywhere, in constructions, in military manufacturing,
every field,
in medicine, in roads, in building, in everything. So China is also in Africa. They own hospitals,
yes.
They own mines, they own water. They are everywhere in the Arab countries and also in Africa. So it is not because of the African or not because of the Egyptian. They have 1.4 million population. So China is not big enough to have those people working and eating and living there.
Yes.
So they have to export those people abroad to work. So in every country they have investment. They export Chinese to work there and to take care of the Chinese business. Of course, you know that between the United States and China, there's two big countries in the world, and China is getting faster. If you communicate in a few years back,
Yes.
for how China is growing, it's impossible. It's something amazing which they have done in the past few years. They're going too fast, and I think with the Arabic-Chinese summit, it's good for the Arab people and good for China, and also good for Egypt. This is my opinion. I think it's good in this world when you have a balance between East and West.
Yes.
Because it has always came from the West. They decide this is bad, this is wrong, you don't have to do this. They can close all the help they give, and they close the human rights and all the things. But now, when you have a balance between the East and West, this makes peace. And I think we are on the way as a result of the summit, which they have agreed about it. The good points, and also for the Palestinian, and also for the interference inside the countries, also in the human rights, and the Palestinian rights, the refugees, the water, everything. So the summit was okay. And as I have said, it's good for China first, and it's good for the Arab world and the Africa second. So it's good for the both.
Speaking exclusively about Egypt, because you mentioned, Doctor, the Belt and Road project, the Silk Road project between China and the rest of the world. Do you think that the infrastructure that we are having here, newly constructed infrastructure, the new cities, the new capital, the new bridges and roads and thousands of kilometers of roads that we have been witnessing under the tenure of President Al-Sisi, do you think this would be helping us with the same project of China, the Belt and Road, the Silk Road, and maybe in different other fields as well in the future?
Indeed, indeed it will help. And it is before that will help with the economic build. It helped first interior in Egypt for the commercial, and the second with connecting with the other world.
Yes.
If you see, you go back a few years back about the roads and about the transportation. Our public transportation in the past was very bad.
Yes.
I will not say it was good, no, that was very bad. And now, if we compare it, how our public transportation, it is not the best yet, but at least we have contained a lot of steps, like the railway and also the public transportation inside cities and the metro. And then all these things has made the life little bit easier for Egyptian. We are not yet, but we are on the road. We are on the road because in the past it was not human to take a bus or to step in a train, and now it's a big difference. They bought new trains. They make. They are busy with making new railway on the east side of the Nile.
Yes.
For a new train that could reach between Cairo and Aswan in 4 hours, which is tremendously huge, and also the quick train which will take from the Sokhna to Alexandria and Burj Al Arab and further. So it's we are having our new cities like the new Cairo and the new Mansoura and all these things on the Mediterranean Sea. No, that contains with a new project of the built economic, which will be in the future.
Yes, we are on the right track, as you mentioned.
We are on the
Dr.,
track,
in terms
yes.
of the construction, in terms of building a new capital, building new cities and thousands of kilometers of roads. But do you think that the vision that we have had here under the tenure of President Al-Sisi is helping us gaining more investment, especially from China, as we are talking about the Arab-Chinese summit? You've mentioned the vision and the strategy, the new strategy in Saudi Arabia. Do you think that we have a new vision here as well in the past 7 years to be drawing in, attracting more investments for the future?
Actually, I was busy with this here in the Nile TV since 2015 about talking about the investment in Egypt from
Yes.
abroad. And President Sisi vision is faster than this time, and he's thinking wisely, also economically. Our economic is not strong enough for all these projects,
Yes.
but with his wisdom, we have reached a lot of projects with loan money from the IMF and also from our Egyptian production. Life is getting a little bit expensive,
Yes.
or more expensive than it was. But Egyptian people are more wisely than anywhere because they see, they understand. They complain like all human, but they see, they saw, there is working. Everywhere in Egypt, when you go by your car, you will see people working in projects. So the vision was well arranged and was on time. And the educated people can see this very clear, but some other people does not see it. But it's not bad. That's human. The one who knows clearly about the vision, he can let the other one understand and not take it as that he does not understand. He doesn't know. And the media in Egypt must play a big role in advertising the project which the president has been done or with his government, so that people can understand that has been huge. And the projects, what he has now for the villages, for
Decent life.
generous life,
Yes.
that's something huge. Something you cannot, never happen in other poor country as we have. So, because the best people come from villages, from the countryside, the,
Yes.
the president, the ministers, the military, all those people coming from there. So if you cannot arrange a generous life for them, that they come brought up wise and comfortable, healthy, then they cannot be productive in the future. And I have said it before, we have to take care of three things in Egypt that our people can be healthier than building a hospital. It's water, bread, and milk. We have to make it in use for our people. So the president is busy also with not only roads and infrastructures, but he is busy with building more factories, making the opportunity for business people to share with the government. So it is wisely okay. So I'm satisfied about it,
Yes.
let's say.
One of the other important projects that we are having here in Egypt that could be attracting investments for the near future is the Suez Canal Economic Zone. Do you think that China could be interested in such a project for the short and the long term?
They already have a project in the Suez Canal Circle. As you know, the Chinese are good in manufacture and also in the customers, and also in making the heavy machines for the loading from the ships to the road. So China has invested a lot of money. They have about 10 million American dollar with the Emirates and Saudis
Yes.
for projects in the Africa and the Arab countries, and also they have arranged another box for $5 million for small investment. So it's about I think what I have what I'm sure about it. It's about 26 million American dollar they has made it for the investment in Egypt and in the Arab countries, and also with the Emirates and Saudis. So with all the projects what we have in Egypt, which has been done, this make a big opportunity for the investors to come to Egypt. Why? What is important for investor?
Yes.
That he can invest his money in one country. I'm not talking about Egypt, but in any country. That he can come to the country, we see stabilization, and he see safely, and he can arrange everything smoothly.
Yes.
And also that he feels safe. Where else you can feel safe than in Egypt at the moment? Not anywhere. So our country is ready for the investors, and all the projects which has been done, they welcome any investment he can comes from abroad.
Doctor, a very important point that you have mentioned is the investors. Why the investors could be choosing to be coming here into Egypt and pumping their money into the Egyptian economy. The investment law that we have here in the country, especially today on Saturday, we've heard in the news that Finance Minister Mohammed Ma'it is saying that we are putting up more incentives for the investors, and we are also protecting the rights of the Egyptian state. At the same time, this balance, do you think it could be made in a short time, in maybe the space of a couple of months, to be getting more investments?
They have to make it in a short time, because as you know that we had a lot of investors from abroad.
Yes.
And in the last 5 months, some investors, they just tracked $20 million from our foreign currency. But the Emirates and Saudi has pumped about 15 million in our central bank,
Yes.
and the balance became a little bit than before. So the Egyptian government is wisely busy in the moment, and they have to arrange everything quick, because they have to make this open and clear for the investors, that they can because the investment, when he come to Egypt, he check always the rights for the workers.
Yes.
And if he see everything arranged, so he will come with open arm, and then with his money to your country and invest his money without any fear.
On the other hand, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi directed to be having more studies, deeper studies into the economic situation of the world, not just for Egypt. How do you think this could be benefiting the Egyptian economy?
I have mentioned first in our talk about politics and economy.
Yes.
The both words are connected. If you would like to be successful in economy, you have to be successful in politics. Politics is a relationship. You have to build a good relationship with your neighbors, with Far East and the West. And we have it now. The president has traveled a lot, and he has been everywhere. And the relationship between Egypt and the other countries is strong than before. It's more stronger than ever.
Yes.
And if I compare it with China, the first visit to a president from Egypt was in 1956, which has President Nasser been to China. That was the first summit which has been done in China. And since then, the relationship is good.
Yes.
So the president is now busy with the other country, is not only for economic, but also for tourists, for tourism and for industry. For example, the blade of the solar energy, we are imported from China and German.
The solar panels.
Yes, we have to arrange it here. Now he's busy to, this is beneficially for Egypt.
Yes.
He's busy to manufacture it in Egypt because this will save us a lot of dollars. That's one thing. We have to, his relationship with other countries, he would like to make Egypt as a hub for export to the West, to Europe. We have discovered two gas fields in Arish and in the Mediterranean.
Yes.
And then our export monthly, it's $500 million from the gas. The president would like to increase it to 1 million a month. So we are in the progress. So actually, we are feeling and having the benefits of the relationship which the president has been built with the outside world. Because when you have a good relationship with other countries, they feel safe and they can cooperate with you. So the relationship build an economic relation as well.
On the other hand, the green hydrogen, for example, one of the main topics that were discussed during the COP27. President al-Sisi has traveled a lot in the past 6 or 7 years. Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry has done the same thing. But on the other hand, we have hosted the COP27 here in Egypt in the past month, or maybe less than 20 days ago. One of the main topics was the green hydrogen. What is the importance of the green hydrogen, not just for the environment in general in Egypt, not just for the climate change and the negative effects of climate change in general, but for the economic benefit as well of it?
No, first of all is for the climate change.
Yes.
And this is what the whole world are afraid of. The climate change, it's, I just said last time, it's a war with the nature. We would like to prevent the anger, the nature anger. As you see, the volcano and all what happened on the world, and the dry fields, the bad agriculture in some countries, the
Some
dry
European countries.
the dry rivers, which has never been done before.
Yes.
The reports which they have said, there is 5 cities on the Mediterranean which will disappear in the future if we go like that. Green energy, it's important for the decarbonized the air.
Yes.
The carbon, it's coming from industry, and this create a lot of heat. And as you know, the water is full of nitrogen, I said last time. When you have too much heat with nitrogen, it creates a lot of water. And therefore, it can be flood. It can be coming to take some cities away.
Yes.
And first of all, the green, it's for climate. Second, Egypt has been very successful in arranging the climate in Sharm el-Sheikh, and this has announced the whole world that everything was serious.
Yes.
Egypt has reached a lot of points which other countries didn't reach since 20 years. So for the economic, for Egypt, it will be benefits in the future if we will arrange it well.
So the economy is not against the environment.
No.
We could be doing both at the same time.
Yes.
We could be winning.
Yes,
In
absolutely.
both wars.
Absolutely. But environment is very important. Environment is very important. Like we have been talking about, we are building the infrastructures,
Yes.
the vision of making new cities. So if you are not busy with the nature, with the environment, how to be safe in this world, so you cannot go further, you cannot reach anything. So environment is first.
What have we done in this field, in this file, to be preserving the environment, to be looking up to the negative impacts of climate change and trying to be decreasing them for the future generations in Egypt? I'm speaking exclusively about Egypt.
Well, we have been busy since 5 years. The solar energy, that is one of it, and the second, besides the solar energy, we have the wind energy as well, and we are trying to produce nitrogen, hydrogen, which we can use which we can export to Europe.
Yes.
We would like to have this in the electricity cars in the future. So there is things which Egypt has been start with it, and they have they have announced it through the summit in Sharm el-Sheikh. So Egypt is well busy with these things, and therefore they got the trust from the other countries, and therefore the conference in Sharm el-Sheikh was succeeded.
How do you see the agreements that were in the benefit of the Egyptian economy and the Egyptian environment and climate in general for the future, like Nuwafi, for example, that were signed, the agreements were signed during the COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh in the presence of the Minister of Cooperation, International Cooperation, Minister of Electricity, Minister of Petroleum and Mineral Resources. What is the importance of those agreements that took place during the COP27 economically and environmentally?
That was implementation agreement,
Yes.
and not promising agreement. In the past, they were signing agreement, but nobody was going after.
Yes.
And the vision of the president in the opening of the summit, he said, we are in an implementation summit, that we have to make all the agreement, and we will work after. So that was also with three, I call it the three pyramids.
Yes.
The president, and it was the foreign minister Zoghary, and was Mr. Muhyiddin from the
Mahmoud Muhyiddin.
IMF.
Yes.
So those people has a lot of a big role in making the summit succeed. So I'm not worried about that Egypt will not succeed in implementation of this agreement.
Yes, Dr. Abbas Zoghary, the economic expert, thank you very much for being with us tonight on Money Means Business.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Anytime. And this brings us to the end of the episode, and I will be leaving you with Manir al-Ibiari and the report about the main economic activities of the past week. Enjoy it. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.